WPH Race for 8. You're here on ESPN3, and we appreciate it. My name is Dave Vincent alongside David Fink for the Elite 8 championships that we call the Ben Edel or the Edel Handball WPH Race for 8. And here, though, are the women pros, both coming in from Ireland, Aisling Reilly from Belfast and Katrina Casey from County Cork.
Well, Dave, this is the hottest rivalry in handball right now. These two women are unquestionably the two top women in the sport. They live just about 2 hours away from one another. They've played 5 times in the last year. Aisling Reilly winning 3 of those encounters, including 2 weeks ago in the All-Ireland Ladies Championship. And Katrina will be looking for revenge here.
Katrina Casey's wearing the blue shirt.
0 play 0.
Aisling Reilly wearing the white. And our referee is Armando Ortiz, who took down Paul Brady in the Elite 8 bracket a couple nights ago, making headlines.
You know, Dave, interestingly, their matches haven't been that close. They've traded wins, but it's generally not close. You saw Katrina win in 2 games in the Simple Green U.S. Open final in October. Then Aisling won in 2 lopsided games 2 weeks ago in the All-Ireland final, so you don't really know what to expect.
1 play 0.
We're at 1-0 here. Yeah, you never really do know what to expect. And also, Dave, with this elevation, that glass side wall, it's going to be different for both of these competitors. It just adds a different twist to it.
Well, I think it's interesting because the altitude seems to affect certain people differently. Some people don't seem to be affected at all, while others are paralyzed by it.
Short ball.
Talked to Katrina quite a bit this week and haven't heard her mention anything about the altitude. She's only played 1 match.
Well, I said short. Second serve.
Ooh, that was close.
That's as close as it can be, Dave.
Let's welcome in John Bike into the booth here. Hall of Famer John Bike. You saw that as well on that replay screen. What were your thoughts on that?
Very close, but I thought it was good. I'm sorry, I thought I saw space there.
Dom, you want to be a line judge?
And the referee, the after the fact linesman recruitment.
All right, shorty. All right, we got line judges.
I think I saw that happen in the Wimbledon final.
I'll call that a short
final.
Second serve.
Wait a minute, we need a linesman. So they pulled someone out of the crowd.
I think it was Prince William that they pulled out because he had the best seat.
Yeah, but years of inbreeding affect your vision. Oh, so that's the SMH right there. That's what you're talking about.
0 plays 2.
No, that was a LOL for me. And
that a mishit? A mishit point from Katrina Casey, excuse me, Aisling Reilly,
that was a strange
at the expense of Katrina Casey.
And fascinating point you made in the opening, David Fink, about how the results are about 50-50, but there really haven't been many close matches. Trading semi-blowouts.
In fact, John, in those, and that's another slight mishit, but she hits the spot she was aiming. In the U.S. Nationals about 10 months ago, it was Katrina coming back in the first game and winning that 21-20 after trailing throughout most of the game, then losing 21-10, 11-3. So, I mean, a tiebreaker, but sure, not that close either.
4 plays 2.
The X factor here is the Aisling Reilly serve. She's got an amazing serve down the right. And with that Irish whip stroke, that's more of a bowling type of stroke, very hard to read whether she's going left or right.
Yeah, and if you're in a dead even match and you're earning more quick points, you're probably going to be the one that comes out on top.
Well, I believe, John, and I don't know if you've ever thought about this, the person that wins the most 1, 2, or 3 shot rallies is probably going to be the one that's winning the match. Unless you're talking about Dave Chapman in his prime.
He would actually do that in streaks, though. You're talking about he'd win the long rallies, but then all of a sudden you'd hit 5 lob serve, first strike
short ball
in his own way.
She appeals. Both agree. Second serve.
That's good. great shot from Aisling. And
Point.
Katrina should have done more with that big setup. Instead, she elects to play the safe wraparound shot, which turned out to be quite
7
unsafe.
plays 2.
Yeah, this is the first time. Wonderful situation. We had the whole crew.
Point.
She needs a timeout here, but
Yeah.
first time I got to really
8 plays 2.
spend, because we were lost traveling around town, I got to pick Katrina's brain a little bit, and if anything, she's a little too self-deprecating. I mean, it's a admirable quality, but she's got to, on the court, she's got to just not be that way at all. Just be full of herself and how good she really is.
Well, Katrina is unbelievably competitive. We were watching matches this morning, and there's music playing on the speaker system, and I would ask
Side
who the
out.
artist was, and she would immediately answer the question. Her good friend
2
Aoife
plays
said,
8.
I've never seen anyone more competitive than Katrina.
Well, how that can translate over to handball, maybe just we should go put a boombox in the court.
Point.
I mean, she made quotes this weekend. Maybe we're all supposed to say it's like a woman who says,
3 plays 8.
how do these jeans look? She's saying things like, I can't kill the ball. I mean, the best player in the world really shouldn't even have that thought in
Point.
their head at all.
Well, she did right there.
She didn't. She can kill the ball.
With both hands.
4 plays 8.
Katrina comes from an amazing
Point.
family in Ireland. Her older sister Marie is a teacher. Her older brother Jonathan
5
studying to be
plays
an
8.
attorney. She herself graduating from St. Mary's Limerick in 2 weeks, also becoming a teacher. Parents must be very proud. I mean, John, as a parent, you can't do much better than 2 teachers and an attorney.
I would have to have another kid to do that.
Well, it worked well for you, Dave.
Maybe the 2 of us combined. That's what we'll end up with
Yep,
Hank being the
about-
attorney, I'm saying.
Thank you. Side out.
It looked like Katrina thought that Aisling had 2 bounces when she dug hers out, and then Katrina got up there and looked like she got hers, but she called 2 bounces
8
on
plays
herself.
5.
Well, Aisling started off this match just completely on fire, hitting incredible shots. Now Katrina working her way back into this match with perfect shots like
Side
that.
out. 5 plays 8. Short ball.
John, Aisling looks a little winded to me right now.
You were saying about the altitude. Yeah,
Second
we are
serve.
higher than any point in Ireland. If they went to the top of their highest mountain in Ireland, I'm sure there's not a court there anyway, but if they were there, they would be lower than we are right now. It's courtesy of John Bike Sr. provided that stat for me.
Point.
There's another point now as Katrina Casey is starting to edge her way toward that
6 plays 8.
that tie that she's looking to get, and then obviously go past.
Side out.
Little wrinkle there. You don't see Katrina get handcuffed or fooled very often.
Well, you don't see her playing against this elite level
8
of competition
plays 6.
unless it's in the final.
Short ball.
Yeah, these 2 have really graduated to where they're the only
Second serve.
competition each other has at this point.
It's like the Anna Engel and Lisa Fraser Gilmore of our generation, or of the current generation.
I know that all of our ESPN viewers know both of them very well.
Double-digit national champions, each of them. Anna, she's about due. She should be about ready for the Hall of Fame. How's that going?
Side out.
Both of them, I would think, are probably there.
I think, yeah.
I think
They ought to
Lisa's
be.
actually just a couple months away from being
6 plays 8.
50 years old.
Great shot there
Point.
from Katrina. Notice how patient she was with that. Let the ball drop.
7 plays 8.
There's a replay. That ball just seems to slide away on that left wall. She has a lot of power, Dave, Katrina Casey, for having that small frame. And it just tells you just what leverage can do for you.
Well, it's just exclusively from time spent on the court, because I can tell you she can't even throw a water bottle 10 feet.
Side
That's
out.
actually true.
She tried to hit you with it. It just didn't work out.
8, play 7.
She landed that water bottle in your glass of water that you were drinking.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
She was aiming. Her target was about 2 or 3 feet beyond where I was.
Side out.
But she does have what it takes on the court.
7, plays 8.
And Aisling Reilly,
Point.
ice cold now after scoring 8 of the first 10 points, has lost 5 points in
8,
a row.
plays 8.
Make that 6 points in a row.
And this speaks to what you were saying. This could very well be altitude. You never know how it's going to affect somebody until they're actually in it.
I like that thought process that Aisling had right there, Dave.
Yeah, it was the right shot.
She had Katrina pinned right behind her there. She could have taken it off the back wall, but Katrina would have
9,
probably got
plays
into a
8.
better position. Now Casey has the first lead at 9-8, I believe, of this first game to 21.
Well, I noticed
Point.
at 4-8 when Katrina hit a perfect V pass,
10,
Aisling
plays
just
8.
seemed to slump down, just completely exhausted. She hasn't recovered. Since then, she's lost 6 straight points. In total, it's 8 straight.
And you're just questioning
Side
yourself. Like, I'm never this
Time
tired
out. That's
in any
your first.
situation. Like, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
There's a timeout being called on the court here from Aisling Reilly, and certainly there is something going on there as the crowd puts their hands together for the Elite Women's Pros as the senior championship took place just a couple weeks ago in Ireland, where Aisling Reilly won that one.
Yeah.
And now you have to remember, just a couple years back, it was Katrina Casey picking off Aisling in the quarterfinals before she went on to win her senior championship, which is one of the oldest, most historic handball tournaments in the game.
Well, and that match actually was very close. That was the first time they ever played, and Katrina won 21-18 in the third game. Seems like since then the matches have been lopsided, although 50-50. But, you know, normally in a tournament, John, you play 4 or 5 matches to get to the final, so you get yourself acclimated. I think that would have given Aisling a little time to acclimate to the altitude. But here in this elite format, only 4 women invited, meaning that she only played 1 match to get here. It wasn't a challenging or physical match for her, so I don't think it gave her really any preparation for the type of
well served
yeah.
to do some serious exercise in the time she was here. She also flew in a little later than Katrina.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a handicap.
Yeah, Katrina's been here, I believe, since Monday. Aisling not until Thursday. And Katrina's been on the court since the minute she arrived. I know, John, you're probably the only person that didn't have a chance to spar with her this week.
Well, I'm retired. I don't spar with anybody.
Well, retired means you can still spar, doesn't it? Just not.
Yeah, you got me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll spar with everyone except David Vincent. I'm going to maintain my unbeaten record with him.
Good shot there from Aisling.
You know, you've seen these top level women's players have that little soft right corner kill. Is that because of years of playing with that little softer ball that they have? They've learned how to keep it down? Because I want to do that shot, and I just can't put it in that same location with that 21 ball. But they seem to have the right wrist snap. And
Aisling coming in strong off the timeout.
Oh, yeah. Hitting the ball really well right now. And
Side out.
there's the
There it
announcing
is.
curse.
There it is.
Well, you know, that's the
I
second fly
apologize.
kill with her
I
right
apologize.
hand that she's
All of Northern
10,
Ireland.
plays 9.
north of Ireland. But Aisling completely shanking 2 right-hand fly kills. That's a great shot. Wow.
Side out.
Slight miss hit there, Dave. Looked like she caught that a little bit on the bottom of her hand. Got just enough of it there to
9,
find the
plays
bottom
10.
board.
well, I wish my miss hits were like that. But she looked like she had a couple of those slight miss hits that have also rolled out, so maybe not.
Well, your miss hit 4 walls instead of 5.
What a great shot that is.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss.
Point.
That was more like a foul tip.
If you did touch that, it's
Yep.
10 plays 10.
We're all together at 10.
And this is exactly what we hoped for when these two players were invited to this event. A really close match, a great match.
That's side out.
Dave, you were talking earlier about, or John brought this up, that Katrina got here a couple days earlier.
10 plays 10.
She arrived on Tuesday, and Ashley and Reilly got here on Thursday, and already Katrina had about 15 matches in before Ashley even showed up. And also got a makeover from one of the handball organizers' wives, who put her into a dress and did some makeup and took some pictures out over some beautiful scenery in Salt Lake City, Utah. So she's been able to see the town and also get some handball in.
Not sure how we're weaving the makeover story in,
wonderful.
but
Are we going to be showing photos of that, or are you just?
I mean, we could.
Side out.
John, you're a Hall of Famer, and
I am.
you've coached and played handball for your whole life, but why do we
10
see
plays
these strange hand airs from Ashley Reilly with her right hand? We see them a lot.
Short ball.
Doesn't seem like that should.
I wouldn't know, because there's players who are in the Hall of Fame. There's
Appeal.
players who aren't.
Both agrees. Second serve.
No, that's. I think it's all coming together. Between what you've said about the altitude, and yeah, I mean, she's as good as any woman who's ever played the sport, and it happens to all of us. You see it in other sports too. An inexplicable yip on a short putt.
Yeah.
It's just because we're human. Maybe that's my best answer.
Point.
I'm just always shocked. I see Ashley make about 4 or 5 of
11
those
serves 10.
strange right-hand hand airs per game, even without the altitude, and I never understand it.
And I was extra sarcastic on that, because that was my weakness. I was just occasional coordination errors. For being as highly regarded as I was, I made a lot of those myself.
Unfortunately, never against me when we played.
Side out. Ten plays 11.
Could have been caught a screen.
It sounds like the open that we left in midstream might have concluded here. It's 25 minutes later. But that would mean a bad result for Celestial if they're all clapping right now, because we know we lost game 1.
11 serves 11.
That would seem to be true.
All together at 11, we're going to 21.
Side out.
And there's a hand air from Aisling Reilly, but Aisling tied at 11 here despite 8 unforced errors.
This is similar to how Armando Ortiz played his first game with Paul Brady. Just a lot of errors, but still scored a lot of points as well. We all know how that turned out.
See what happens here. Wow. That ball makes the front wall with an underhand flub.
11 serves 11.
Good shot from Katrina.
Side out.
I think what makes this rivalry so compelling is their styles are completely different.
11 serves 11.
It's one of the reasons, yeah, just the talent level.
Side out.
Great shot from Aisling. That's called the revolving door kill.
11-11.
Do we have stats from overseas? Do we even know the last time one of these two players even lost a game to another female player? I really wouldn't see it happening.
You'd have to go back at least 2 years.
12 serves 11.
Aisling Reilly losing the first game to Fiona Shannon at the 2012
Point.
World Championships and coming back to win that match. Was the last time
13
either
serves
one
11.
of these two ladies lost a game to anyone outside of the two of them.
Fiona, phenomenal player as well. She won multiple world titles, correct?
Yes. 3 in a row, in fact.
Side out.
I thought right after that World Championship at the U.S. Open, Aisling Reilly lost to
11
Megan
serves 13.
in the finals there. So
well, she had the back issue. Something screwy happened in LA one year. But was that after or before? I think that was before, though.
I think that was 2011.
12, serves 13.
Score here is 12-13.
I believe you're right, though, Dave. So it was Megan Mihalos who defeated her after she won that world championship.
I recall saying to her, this isn't the same crowd that you had when we had 4,000 people at the court. It was just seemed like 2 weeks later. Remember, Luis Moreno also did not do very well in that tournament. And he said, I just couldn't come off that high of that final.
Paul Brady told me he couldn't even lift his arms
13,
during that tournament.
Serves 13.
And yet he won.
Yeah.
I like that shot. Casey and Reilly trading ties, and one goes up by one goes back to the tie, and then up again by one.
14, serves 13.
I think this is what we're going to see all the way to the end.
As a fan, you hope so.
It's like watching Maddox pitch against Pedro Martinez. A 0-0 tie, and you're trying to figure out who's going to break first.
It's like Bob Gibson and Steve Carlton.
15, serves 13. Screen, serve.
Katrina trying to edge in front. The player that scores 18 first wins 93% of the pro matches.
Serves.
That's data collected over the last 2 seasons.
Three fingers, Mordecai Brown and Christy Mathewson.
Hold it, replay.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would think that Ashley would almost have to be on her stomach going after that ball to get it.
Well, that's called
Replay
playing
that.
the player.
15,
She
serves
created
13.
the contact to create the hinder call.
Oh, Reilly goes for that elite flat rollout kill and doesn't get it. I thought there was possibly even a bad bounce leading up to that off the roof.
Well, that came
16,
straight down.
serves 13.
That was a perfect setup for Ashley.
This is similar to how the Los Cab matchup went. Close for a while. I think Reilly had a slight lead.
Point.
Casey closed really strong.
And then built a huge lead in the second game.
17, serves 13.
Look at that power.
Wow.
And just a flip to the front wall. Real no effort to get it there.
Ashling has to be frustrated. There's hit a couple of great shots in that rally that should have won the rally.
18,
But
serves
Katrina
13.
kept it alive, and now just 3 points from clinching this first game. Make that 2.
Point.
That was an amazing serve from Katrina Casey.
19, serves
Look
13.
how focused she is right now.
Hold it, a screen play, screen.
That ball was hit so high that I can see the referee allowing that to go.
It was clearly a back wall play, which could not
You got 2
possibly be
serves.
screened.
Katrina seems to put herself in those just a perfect position to get those kill shots off the back
Side
wall
out.
from Ashling. Some players are too far back. She just happens to be in the right spot to take one step and flip it back.
13, plays 19.
I like that serve.
Point.
Katrina knew she was going there, but she just hit the perfect shot in the right corner, and now it's a timeout. But
Timeout.
you see
That's
both
your
these
first.
players
You
and
got a
all the
minute.
elite players are so good with both hands, and that's what's so cool about this sport, Dave, is that it requires complete ambidexterity to become a good player, and that makes you actually smarter, using both sides of your brain, your analytical side and your creative side. John, I know that you are very familiar with that, being a teacher. Great thing to do for kids playing handball.
Another great advertiser of the sport, exactly. Yeah, the ambidexterity aspect.
You know, most sports are completely one-sided. You look at something like golf or baseball, but then in handball you have to be adept with both hands, both sides of the body.
And we kind of take for granted, all being around each other, that a skill you can develop. And I can say for sure, the general population, it's just pure comedy when you watch them do something with their other hand. We had a 2-a-day all-star session last summer, and we gave them 1 day off. We gave their arms off. We had them all go oppo, and it was
20 seconds.
We had one handball player on the team, so he was pretty good at it, but the rest of them couldn't even make a 50-foot throw. It's just pure comedy.
Well, it's interesting. The pro players joke with each other about maybe their offhand isn't that strong, but to a non-handball player, they couldn't even tell what hand a handball player was. They could watch a handball player throw or hit with either hand and wouldn't know.
Reilly serving. 14 plays 19.
And that's the wrong
Side
time
out.
for that kind of error, Dave. And you know it as a player when you know you need to make a charge and you just give away a rally like that.
14.
It's just crushing.
It seems like Reilly goes up to that high wraparound and Katrina counters her with something that's more special. And it is frustrating.
Well, that time she didn't have to do anything special. It's just a complete whiff. That's a good shot.
Side out.
And I like that, Dave, from Aisling pumping herself up. And that's intimidating, even though Katrina has the lead.
14 plays 19.
I like that serve right there.
Follow it up with a missile like that.
That's a checkup. Oh, should be replayed. I believe the referees thought he would call it, but he called a side out instead.
No complaint from Aisling there. For some reason, we see a lot less hinders called in women's handball
14.
than we do in men's, and much less complaining.
Well, it's because women are better people.
That's true.
That's actually a fact. I looked that up on Wikipedia.
Game point, serves 14.
It says a 2-game match to 21. A 1-game match, I should say. The match is 2 to 21, tiebreaker to 11.
If necessary. Great shot.
And then it was closed out as Katrina Casey takes game number 1.
5 minutes.
Bottom board, flat paddle return kill to win the first game is Katrina Casey. And there's that replay. What a beautiful shot that is. And the crowd put their hands together for these elite women pros. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back in just a few for John Bike and Dave Fink. Dave Vincent here. Thanks for tuning in to the Players Championship in Salt Lake City, Utah. Brought to you by Edel Handball and the World Players of Handball. We'll be back in just a bit.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new. Up, down, and all around.
They froze.
Hi guys, I'm on the sidelines here with Eva McCarthy. Now, Eva, you and Katrina Casey are basically traveling sisters. How do you feel this first game went here in the match against Ashlyn?
I think Katrina is very settled. She's going for some shots and it's paying off. Like, she's taking her time, she's very patient. Where Ashlyn's kind of skipping the ball a bit. But both girls are serving well, and like there's great picking in the game. So it's going to be a good second game.
So what do you think Ashlyn needs to do to pick up the pace to, battle against Katrina?
I think she's just taking her eye off the ball maybe at the last second, or she might just need to keep her eye on the ball, go for her shots and not be put off. Like, Katrina's very quick and like she gets everything, so she just needs to kill the ball and really go for it. But Katrina's doing really well as well.
And I think one thing that everybody's been talking around here in the stands, it's a really big matchup between these two. You no doubt that you're some of the best players here in the women's game. Who do you think is going to take this match?
Oh God, it's a tough one because like just 2-3 weeks ago, like Aisling really outplayed Katrina in the All-Ireland Championship. So like it's just so strange. Like, it's always over and back. Like, it's too tough to call. Like, they're two excellent players and they deserve to be here. But yeah, I'm not going to say. So that's
there you have it. Too tough to call to see who's going to win this. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. Back to you guys.
That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to wait and see what happens here. I could see Aisling Reilly dominating in game number 2 and coming back. She dominated at the All-Ireland Senior Championships, but playing at altitude, playing near 5,000 feet above sea level and on a glass court like this is crazy. The fact that we're on ESPN does not affect either of these women. They've been in the show court. They've been on TV before. They've had the big crowd. But ESPN is trying to break into that market. It's not as well known as what they normally watch back home. And therefore, to them, it's just another TV company. We all know it's not, as ESPN's trying to get into the Irish market. So I don't think that plays a factor. Somebody said that the other day, like, oh, these, it's a big deal to have these cameras here for these women.
Well, Dave, I believe in a sport like handball, which is mostly reactionary, that you're not going to really be overwhelmed by nerves because you're just reacting to the ball, as opposed to something like golf where you have to, if the cameras are there in golf, you're frozen. But in handball, once the shots are hit, you're not really thinking about the cameras, you're just reacting. And that pretty much eliminates the nerves. I'd say similar to basketball, except when you start shooting the free throws. You have time to really think about it.
Well, that is probably true, but we saw in the men's open singles final when one of the players knew that they were on ESPN, they hit the ball right in the ground, and in fact, they did it twice, which is something that's so rare to see. Probably wouldn't do that in 6 months.
Probably hasn't done it twice all year until then.
Well, I think that had something to do with switching courts and just sort of being out of sorts. Sometimes that can be disconcerting.
Look at that shot right there from Casey. I mean, it's so nonchalant that we just kind of ho-hum it, but that's an actual amazing shot. A lot of players will overhit that little paddle into that sidewall. She seems to take some of it off. I don't know how she does it. A lot of spin. It's just so casual that it doesn't even seem like it's happening.
And John, I agree with you. This is very similar to their match at the U.S. Open, where it was close. It seemed like Aisling was in control for a part of the first game, and then Katrina took over, and I believe she built a 14-0 lead in that second game.
I like this, but that is almost one of those approach penalties, isn't it, John?
Yeah, I think she hit the ball before she crossed, but the ref does have to be on the lookout for that.
We'd like to have the
GoPro.
The director, Chris Garrad, give us a slow-mo replay, if he can cue it up sometime, of when Aisling Reilly hit that last ball after the serve. Right there. That
one's safe.
That one was safe, but the one before that.
Safe, but a complete whiff.
I mean, she went for the short hop, and that's never the. If you hit your lob close enough to the line, you kind of take the fly shot out of play.
What this is telling me right now is that the altitude is affecting her thinking, her decision making. Dave, I know you talked about this in Denver last month, but when you feel the effects of that altitude, you start thinking to yourself, I would literally rather do anything but this right now, because you can't think or breathe.
Yeah, it's absolutely. You actually say, I don't care if I win or lose or don't ever play the sport again. This altitude's just the worst.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if it's the altitude or just that black hole that you see back there when the two glass walls meet. I mean, she seems to be uncomfortable taking that ball up there.
Well, when I see her running in and trying to short hop a lob serve, that tells me that her thinking process isn't clear.
Well, she was hoping, I think, that it carried far enough so she could play it like that.
But she's trying to hit a fist with this. I don't understand why you would.
This is just totally out of her element right now.
But why would she be hitting a
7,
fist shot
0.
on a ball that you're trying to run in and make contact with? That should be an open hand.
It causes decision-making problems.
Yes, exactly like the Orange County match.
Yeah.
8, play 0.
Finally, she plays one about as accurate as she should, and there's that
Side
left
out.
corner kill and a side out.
It's not a good feeling when you lose the first
0
game and
plays
then you're
8.
trailing 3 minutes into the second game, 8-0.
No, that's not a good feeling.
Side out. 8, play 0. Side out. 0, plays 8. Side out.
Nice to see that rally unfold, and really good example of that. Just a series of perfect shots by
Time out.
Casey.
Well, I said it yesterday that she was the
First.
silent assassin. She really just goes about her business quietly, but she has an idea.
Purposefully, exactly.
Yeah, it's just so unbelievable what she's thinking in her brain that she doesn't make strategic or methodical errors. I mean, she really has a purpose of what she's trying to do, and I think much like Tony Healy from County Cork, Ireland, or Dave Chapman, she certainly thinks about it. I thought she was too young to know who Dave Chapman was, and when I brought it up in New York, she said, "Oh, I watched all of his videos. I've watched everything."
Well, she does have unfair advantage there because we always speculate, and our moral compass is what would Tony Healy do, and she's actually grew up with Tony Healy, so she's got an unfair advantage in that regard. She knows exactly what Tony Healy would do, and she's putting her own twist on it.
You're watching the ESPN3 coverage of this Players' Championship brought to you by Edel Handball and World Players of Handball. It's the culmination of a great tour season, the best one we've had. Players all played in multiple tournaments to get enough points to be
Emmett
invited.
looking very uncomfortable in that setting.
Players played in multiple tournaments to get enough points to be invited to this big one. And now we have the two best women players in the world. Not even arguably. Sometimes you could say, well, it's arguably the two best. No, we have the two best here.
We're not even hearing your argument. Exactly.
John, you coach baseball
All right, Katrina serving.
in California. Talk about,
8,
you talk a lot about pitch counts and how many pitches a pitcher can throw in a game, whether it be in the major leagues or high school. But what about the pitch count in handball? How many swings is a handball player taking in a match?
Oh, it's just how much effort you're doing. I mean, every pitch is 100% effort. You know, and if you're, I believe 100% all out swings, probably similar numbers. But
Point.
you're smart enough to hopefully only unload on occasional serves.
9, play 0.
That's kind of how I described it, though. The word's getting out in that league we're in that I had another career previous to baseball coaching and teaching, and that's how I describe it to people. It's like pitching sidearm every day, like 500 pitches.
Little underhand fist push from Katrina Casey. And look at that flat rollout mouse from Ashley Reilly. Maybe that's the shot she needs to get back into it.
And now Katrina looks winded for the first time. This is an amazing shot.
Look at that.
Wow.
Ooh. That goes on the highlight reel.
0 plays 9.
Dun-na-na, dun-na-na. Maybe? No?
Deepest point in the
Hold it,
court.
short.
Lowest shot possible.
That's basically like a hole-in-one. That's about how rare a shot like that is.
Would you?
Point.
Aisling now starting to hit the ball pretty well.
1 plays 9.
Still trails 1-9. She'll have to make it happen here. Your margin for error, if you fall behind any more than this, makes it almost impossible to come back into the game.
But look at this. 2 great rallies in a row by her.
2 plays 9.
Odds improving.
It seems like Aisling has to play perfect shots to win points, whereas Katrina is just playing a steady game and collecting points without having to do anything spectacular.
I think that's what we saw in the McCarthy-Ortiz match yesterday. Ortiz just really having to be razor sharp and almost pulling it off, but McCarthy intelligently using the entire court.
Point.
And there's another point for Aisling Reilly.
3 plays 9.
And it appears that maybe that back wall mouse kill shot was the motivation she needed.
Total change of momentum here. All of a sudden, Casey looks stiff now. She seemed to be in total control of herself.
4 plays 9. Side out.
Great shot, and there's the ambidexterity that we discussed in game 1. Katrina, right-hander, just hits a perfect shot with her left hand. And
9 plays 4.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
She does it with such ease.
Makes it look easy, but it certainly isn't. And
Point.
go out and try that sometime with your offhand. Just try and hit
10
a target
plays
20
4.
feet away. A target 1 inch high.
Yeah, and don't want to overhit it. That ball was short, I think. You don't want to overhit it. You have to hit it soft. She feathers it in just perfectly. And John, Dave and I first saw her play at the Collegiate National Championships. And we saw that. We're like, what are we looking at here? This is unbelievable. Instantly, we became a fan.
Well, this like we mentioned before, is her one challenge. The one person who ever takes Kat off her game is Aisling. And
11 plays 4.
Vice versa.
Every other match, she just crushes everybody every time.
Right. In fact, you'd be lucky to get out of single digits unless your last name was Reilly. Look at this.
that's incredible.
But she overhits it.
She hit that with a fist.
We were fortunate enough to intentionally get lost on the ride home last night and draw a 15-minute ride into a 55-minute ride. Got a lot of insight into what makes her tick.
Side out.
She looks a little winded after that miss hit. That was they're saying the longest rally so
4
far of
plays
this
11.
match. 4-11, game number 2. Reilly wins the first one. Excuse me, Casey wins the first one, and Reilly's winning this one.
Not by points,
Side
but
out.
momentum, you might be right.
I think both these ladies are tired now, winded,
11 plays 4.
not getting enough oxygen in their lungs with this 4,300 feet of elevation. And that's the kind of points you have to win when you're winded. That's the kind of points you always want to win, but a quick first strike, she didn't move more than 3 steps to win that rally.
12 plays 4. Short ball.
And when the ref is anonymous, like Armando Ortiz has been in this game, you know he's doing a great job.
Great shot.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Point.
Creative shot there. But Aisling was so far back that,
13.
I mean, look how far Aisling's back. She's just walking up to the front, John.
That has to be severe wind issue. I mean, I'd expect an athlete to be charging as hard as he could, or just trying to contest that shot in some way.
Look at these amazing retrieves from Katrina.
Point.
Dave, you don't always think of her as being the quickest, but she's proving right now she's not only the best shot maker, but also
14
probably the
plays
quickest
four.
around the court.
Maybe the best finisher. But yeah, she glides to that spot and then puts the hand out so methodically.
Sort of like Robbie McCarthy.
Yeah, similar.
Side out.
Where they make you think that they're not as good as they really
Four,
are
serves 14.
until you get into the court and play them. Somebody once said hidden power. I think she has that, hidden power.
And those of us who watched these two a few weeks ago, we were crowded around a computer in Denver, Colorado. Just, it's almost unfathomable how good Reilly looked there and how good Casey looks here.
14,
But something's got to
serves
give
four.
when the two Titans play. There can only be one winner.
That ball ever going to come down?
We talk about how exhausted both these ladies are, but as you guys both know, handball is the #1 ranked activity by the Presidential Council on Physical Fitness for burning calories,
15,
more
serve
than
four.
swimming and jogging. Because you're using both sides of your body, the interval starting and stopping. Thus far in this match, Katrina Casey has covered
Point.
0.84 miles of ground, while
Timeout.
Aisling Reilly 0.80 miles of ground.
That's
And that's
your
sprinting, John,
Well,
side to
it's
side,
a
front to back.
side-to-side thing. Changing your body momentum over and over again
Score
makes
is
it
16, serves 4.
like other sport. Like a soccer player will run 5 to 10 kilometers, but it's mostly just one direction. Occasional change. You go 40 yards at a time. These people are just always completely changing their body momentum.
Katrina's resting heart rate 49 beats per minute. That can get up to 165 beats per minute during or after a long rally.
And in this altitude, you're seeing it. Reilly, a finely conditioned athlete herself, but resting her at 56, and all that extra effort is taking a toll.
This is game number 2. Katrina Casey wins the first one, 21-14, and it looked like Aisling Reilly was going to put together something. It was about 9-4 at one point, and now Katrina Casey just ran away with 7 straight to get this up to 16-4.
Katrina serving, 16,
And
serves
another
4.
timeout called from Reilly. Now we're back into it from that timeout.
The finish line certainly on the horizon now, just
Point.
4 points from claiming the first ever women's Race for 8 Players
She
Championship.
can't throw a water bottle 8 feet, but she can
17,
roll a
plays
ball
4.
with her offhand from 30 feet.
Katrina has won not only every women's Race for 8 event that she's ever entered, but also every women's Race for 8 event that's ever been held.
Point.
That's quite a streak.
Yeah.
Best possible.
Now, Paul Brady coming into this event had won every Race for event he
18,
played, but
plays
he'd only
4.
played in 3 out of 22.
Just name the tour after Katrina next year.
Yeah. Well, her name will be on the trophy.
Point.
Certainly looks that way.
It's the perpetual trophy. It resides in the WPH Museum
19,
in
plays 4.
Tucson. It's quite a display, John. I know you've seen it.
I can't wait till my next visit. Sometime this summer for sure.
Okay.
Get there when it's good and hot.
Get the sombrero out for you.
Look at that perfect spot Katrina puts that ball into.
Wow.
And that's unbelievable.
Point.
This late in the tournament, now pushing it to game point, match point, and a chance to win and become the Players' Champion.
Match point, serves 4.
Well, that was
Side
a
out.
crazy shank. that Katrina just had on that
4
ball.
plays 20.
And we're at 4-20 with Aisling Reilly just trying to do something here. Make that scoreline not look so bad.
Point.
Only at 5, and really against pretty much any other woman in the world, Reilly would think,
5 plays 20.
I could easily win the next 16 points.
Point.
And there's 2.
6 plays 20.
Oh, unbelievable guidance right there from Katrina Casey. She floated that ball up there, but it was perfect.
Match point. Plays 6.
That's textbook.
Here it is, match and game. Point. And this could be a John.
With the offhand, of course. What better way to end it?
And there she does it. Katrina Casey is our first women's Players Champion, Salt Lake City, Utah, as she takes down Aisling Reilly. The score 21-14, 21-6. And here's a replay brought to you by Edel Handball. And the crowd giving her a round of applause here in Salt Lake City at the Sports Mall. There will be an award presentation here on the show court. She's also going to get interviewed, I believe, by our sideline reporter, Molly Jean Trotter. And David Fink, who is in the booth, is going to present her with a cup, the Women's Players Championship trophy, which will be awarded right here on the show court. John, you saw some methodical play, but also some very smart play from Katrina Casey. She was poignant with what she wanted to do. She was direct. She was able to hit kill shots, but also go up to the roof, and when times weren't going so well for her, she was able to reset the action. And she has the whole package.
Yeah, a bit of a shaky start, but I mean, here we go.
Let's go ahead and go over to the court right now. Molly, what's going on?
I'm standing here with Katrina Casey. Katrina, congratulations on being the first women's Rate for Ace champion. Now here's David Fink. He's the administrator for WPH. Now, David, here he's going to hand you the trophy. Here you have a few words to say.
Thank you very much, Molly. First of all, I want to congratulate both Katrina and Aisling, two of the best women's players in the world. We're very proud to have you as part of our tour. Very proud to have you in our final. Katrina, you've won every Women's Race for 8 event that you've entered. You're our Women's Race for 8 Player of the Year. I'd like to congratulate you. Your name will be on this trophy for forever. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Now, here in the crowd, everybody's been talking about such a big rivalry between you two, and I think just a couple of weeks ago, you guys played, and I believe Aisling won that. So how did it, preparing for this and coming in here and winning, how did that feel for you?
Yeah, like it feels good. Obviously, Aisling won just 3 weeks ago, so like that was a big motivating factor for me, you know, to try to come back. I felt I didn't do myself justice that day, but Aisling was the deserved winner. And kind of, you know, it depends on what form you're in coming in any given day. Like if we were to play again next week, could be a different story again. So obviously, I'm delighted to get the win.
Like we said, you know, 3 weeks ago, Aisling won, now you won. And Aisling, how, you know, you guys play together, you know, quite often. So coming in here for this, you know, how do you prepare for something like this since you guys play together all the time, it seems like?
You just kind of try and do the same thing that you keep doing week in, week out. Obviously, again, 3 weeks ago it was a different story. I don't like my percentage shots 3 weeks ago was nearly 99%, and today I did 50 things wrong, and the 50 things I did wrong, Katrina did right. So I think the best player on the day won, and there's nothing I can do about that, and deserved winner of all 3 races. So well done, Katrina.
And Katrina, any last words you want to say?
Just thanks to the WPH for organising the event. Like, it's great for women's handball in general to be part of it, and hopefully we'll be back again next year.
Well, congratulations to you. Great match again today, ladies. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much. What a great group of people we have in the court right there, led by Katrina Casey, but also what a great sport Aisling Reilly is as well, as we have the photo ops going on, John Bike, of Katrina Casey, who just defeated Aisling Reilly from Belfast here on the show court. The first ever women's players champion is being awarded her cup here in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have another big match coming up next, as the men's senior final will be up at the top of the hour, featuring Bear Myrene and Marco Chavez. For Dave Fink, John Bike, the rest of the crew, Chris Garrad, Linda Manning, and those that helped out, like Molly Jean Trotter. Thank you for watching this live broadcast. We'll have more action coming up right around the corner at ESPN3.com.
This is Vegas.
He has a great left hand inside out from Jarrell.
Emmett could have gone 2-all with that shot.
Emmett wants that. He wants it. The ref's going to give it to him and drill it to get it. And he gets the best shot we've ever seen.
I enjoy it, love it. It's one of the best tournaments I've ever gone to and go to. The mix of the sun, the beautiful weather, and the casino, and playing outdoor racquetball. I mean, it's a trifecta. What else do you want? It's like having a tailgate party for a weekend.
Enjoy it. It's fun. It's a great event.